Hey guys, Level Cap here and welcome to This Week in Gaming, your weekly news recap on everything going on in the world of video games. Today, we finally got a look at the real Nintendo Switch 2. Delta Force announced a frustrating delay, Sony canceled some major projects, and much more. Nintendo finally got tired of all the leaks and officially revealed the Nintendo Switch 2. The upcoming console retains much of the original Switch's core features like the Joy-Con remote controllers, tablet form factor, and a docking system. It seems like the Switch 2 will run the majority of original Switch games both from physical cartridges and digitally, though Nintendo's fine print says some games might not be compatible. The reveal trailer was very light on technical details, and there's even some debate if this shot implies that the new Joy-Cons will function like a computer mouse or not. Nintendo is doing a full reveal during their next Direct event on April 2nd. The console is scheduled to launch at some point this year. In terms of the specs and new features, the Joy-Cons are magnetic instead of locking into place mechanically. There's a new second USB-C port on top of the console to make using accessories easier when it's docked. It retains the headphone jack, but it's unclear if Bluetooth headphones will be supported at launch. The kickstand is more adjustable, giving users more angles to play at. The overall size of the Switch 2 is noticeably larger than the original, and leaks have suggested it'll feature an 8-inch mini LED screen, which seems to line up pretty accurately with the trailer. Under the hood, the only hardware info we have is based on leaks that suggest it'll be a bit underpowered compared to modern systems, though it'll likely offer Nvidia's DLSS to help with upscaling games and ensure a more playable frame rate without big drops in quality. It's expected to run at 1080p in handheld mode and 4K while docked. Rumors about pricing pin the Switch 2 in the $400 range, with the original Switch launching at $300. Now, the trailer did give us a first look at a Switch 2 game, Mario Kart 9. The upcoming game could feature 24-player races based on the head count on the racers in the trailer. Delta Force's Black Hawk Down campaign experience has been delayed. It was originally expected this month, but the developers say they're pushing the launch back to do the final polishing and optimization. The campaign will launch at some point during the game's upcoming second season, Starfall. The season starts on the 18th. Based on the fact that they're saying it's a delay, that probably means the campaign will launch in February, so we shouldn't be waiting too much longer to see their take on the now iconic story of Black Hawk Down. Sony have canceled two upcoming live service PlayStation titles. One of the games was based on God of War and was being developed by Bluepoint, the studio that handles Sony's high-profile remasters. The other games were in development at Bend Studio, who made the zombie survival game Days Gone, though it's unlikely their upcoming game would have tied into it. Since 2020, Sony have canceled the majority of the 12 live service games that they plan to launch by 2026. Helldivers 2 has been the only game to make it across the finish line. Concord famously made it to launch but was shut down just 2 weeks later. The only remaining live service title in development by Sony is Fair Games, an upcoming competitive heist title. The first gameplay trailer for Forest Reigns launched this week. It's an FPS survival game set in post-apocalyptic Paris. The project is being led by a former Stalker developer, and it looks like pretty familiar territory. The big feature in Forest Reigns is an interactive forest. You can use the forest to help kill enemies. Doing so will impact how the world reacts to you in certain ways. Details beyond that are pretty scarce, and the game has no release date. A massive Grand Theft Auto V mod has been shut down by Rockstar. Liberty City Preservation Project launched over the holidays. It recreates Liberty City from the previous Grand Theft Auto games in Grand Theft Auto V. Unfortunately, Rockstar contacted one of the mod's developers and requested that they take it down. The modders say that the removal wasn't prompted by a DMCA or other legal notices, and that there's no negativity between the mod team and Rockstar. Former CD Projekt Red developers, including The Witcher 3's game director, revealed their new game, The Blood of the Dawnwalker. It's being developed by the studio Rebel Wolves, which was formed in 2022. The game is the first in a planned series of dark fantasy open-world RPGs, and will feature a semi-unique mechanic where players have a set limit of 30 in-game days to complete the main storyline. Blood of the Dawnwalker will get a gameplay reveal this summer. It currently has no release date. Upcoming Battle Royale looter shooter Exoborne is running closed playtests next month that players can sign up for. The game features a dynamic weather system, third-person combat, and an insanely detailed post-apocalyptic world. It has a heavy emphasis on movement mechanics as well, with the exosuits serving as your character's unique abilities. You can request access to the playtest via Steam, and it kicks off on February 12th. I played the game a while back and I really enjoyed the high movement mechanics and the fire tornadoes. The developers previously released Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt, a third-person battle royale game set in the Masquerade universe. And while the gameplay was generally praised by players, it failed commercially and support was pulled less than a year after launch. The final major update for Baldur's Gate 3, Patch 8, will introduce crossplay, a photo mode, tons of bug fixes, and improvements to mod support. The updates for this game have been monumental in scope. One added additional endings with new dialogue. Others have fixed tons of bugs or balance issues. The developers are currently pivoting to their next project, so Patch 8 will likely be the last big update Baldur's Gate 3 gets, aside from bug fixes and balance updates as needed. Apparently, making video games for 38 years is exhausting. Industry veteran and legendary game developer Hideo Kojima says he's tired as his work on Death Stranding 2 has transitioned into the final stages of crunch time. He's currently working on audio like the Japanese voice recordings and working on all of the associated marketing for the game. And while crunch is a widespread issue in the game industry, it's rare to see it acknowledged by the leads of a studio, and often it's to either dispel rumors of crunch or to double down on its necessity. His tweets on the matter mention Ridley Scott, who directed Gladiator at 60 and is still directing new films today. Kojima openly wonders if he has another 10 years left in him to make games. Kind of crazy to think that the game industry may not have Kojima in it one day, considering he's basically been a major presence since, well, always, at least in my case. Microsoft and iFIXIT have partnered up to sell official replacement parts for the Xbox Series console. The parts are now available on the official Microsoft Store website and iFIXIT's website. iFIXIT is a now renowned institution in the consumer electronics repair world. They offer extensive teardown and repair guides for most modern electronics, as well as a huge library of parts and tools that you would need for the job. The partnership is part of a wider initiative by Microsoft to improve the sustainability of their hardware and likely satisfy the requirements of the right to repair legislation, which has been enacted by several US states as well as the European Union. Marvel Rivals will get 2 new heroes every 3 months according to its developer NetEase. The game has been an insane success with its current player count basically at an all-time high. The competitive third-person hero shooter has already 35 playable characters, so it's unclear how many additional heroes we can expect in the long term. Rainbow Six Siege has struggled to maintain balance with its 74 different characters, often requiring reworks of the entire game's balance to fix the metas that end up breaking the game in other ways. NetEase also reaffirmed their stance on role queue, saying that they believe not having one will be better for the experience. Role queues require a certain balance of character types per team. So something like a healer, 2 tanks, and 3 DPS characters making up a typical role queue setup. Marvel Rivals lets players pick any combination of heroes that they want, so you could easily end up on a team with no healer at all. Doom is now playable in a PDF. A coder who goes by adding2210 on GitHub released a project that lets users play the iconic 1993 shooter via ASCII art rendered at around 13 FPS inside of a PDF. Yes, this is literally just text refreshing at 13 FPS. And while it might just look like the game is using the PDF to display itself, the entire game is actually running within the file itself. You can actually load and play additional Doom WAD files if you want. This is all possible thanks to Adobe Acrobat's support for JavaScript. Modders have managed to get other games running in PDF files like Tetris and Breakout over the years. Now, in our last story this week, I wanted to give myself a little plug here. I launched my first gameplay teaser trailer on Tuesday for my game called Seabeams. It's a top-down action RPG spaceship game that I've been working on for the past year. It blends some of my favorite classic games like the Escape Velocity franchise with modern styles from The Expanse, and we add in some new gameplay mechanics that are pretty unusual to this genre, like beyond visual range combat and some highly realistic spaceflight physics. If you guys want to know more about it, you can check out the trailer linked below or the one that's posted in the outro. And that wraps it up for today's episode of This Week in Gaming. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop me a like, subscribe for more content like it, and ding the notification bell to beat the YouTube algorithm with me. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Once again, check out C-Beams if you're interested, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.